Hello and welcome to Monday Night Football. I can't remember the date, 22nd of October edition.
Correct,
I'm here with James Cartwright, another edition of Colours vs Babes. What did you make of this one, Jimmy?
I think initially, the sides, it's difficult to pick teams, isn't it? Because, you know, Johnny's in there, you've got Connor as well. So I would say the coloured side are the better team from the off.
I think with the addition of Johnny, the way he's been playing recently, he's always a key factor.
Well, he wins that midfield battle every time, and here's Piot coming forward. Not Piot, I mean, it's you, Sam.
And
just put the shot
right post there. Just think myself and Piot similar build there.
I think it was just shirts. I think it was the I thought it looked like a purple shirt there.
Smith and a strike, saved well by West.
Yeah.
Comes back out to Sharkey.
That was a fine strike from Sharkey, I have to say. He went through, but very good.
And he started the game well, didn't he, Sharkey?
He did. He's got a lot of energy to him. He's and that's the reason why me and Piot put him in there, is because of the energy he brings to that midfield.
Well, you just saw there the strike.
Dino come across it well. Half decent strike from Dino, but easy for West.
Glove and a good save by yourself there, James.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stinger. But managed to get there.
I think it's nice to see that you're playing it out from the back a little bit in this one, and there's another interception by myself. Seem to do a few of these in this game.
Johnny.
And we always know this man is going to be dangerous, and he's there. James, what went wrong with that one?
It's just a good finish in the corner, I suppose, and there.
Celebration in front of the camera.
That was just a good.
And well, the thing is, everyone says every week, keep him off his left, and you do that, and he punishes you with his right. And there's the celebration.
Good with both feet, I suppose.
And what a shocking effort that was.
That wasn't great.
I'll be honest with you, actually, that effort wasn't as bad as what happened to the ball after there, as it went about. It was rising all the time there.
Oh, Ash needed to get there, but he didn't.
Go with the ball forward, Johnny.
Ooh.
Oh, he's beating you.
Yeah.
And again.
Hesitant.
And the Rabona. Great block by Piot.
Yeah.
Nice to see Piot in the defensive role.
Yeah, he stayed back, made sure we didn't concede any goals.
He certainly did, but he also went forward at times as well.
A distribution for myself.
And it goes to Dino. Back to Sharkey now.
He's persistent. No, this is the second goal.
And there it is, Sharkey. Another nice finish.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much West can do there, is there?
No, not really.
I mean, West had a good game for me, but that one there, Sharkey puts it in the right corner, and the technique
again. You're
going
to score most times if you put it in the corner, I think.
And he's go over a man who was very energetic. And there's a pass on there, but he doesn't seem to want that one. And he's going to come inside maybe now, and I think that was a tackle by Smith there. The pass on there to Jack wasn't there, you think maybe?
Jack's alright at going forward, so I wouldn't be hesitating to use him there.
It's a good ball in and go over that. This is what he is good at, though, just winning those balls and consistently hounding the defence. What a great man to have up front, really. Glove.
Yeah. Into yourself there. He's nearly through, and that was a good tackle from Sharkey.
And Jack's he's always a threat down this right hand side, isn't he?
He's playing like a fullback in this one.
There is Johnny again. Dino trying to get it away. Johnny again. Oh,
he finished with the side of the foot there.
I'm just curious as a goalkeeper in this moment there. What are you thinking when you see a man who you know can finish with that amount of time in front of the goal?
Well, he didn't really have that much time. He just managed to get himself a couple of challenges. I just have to have faith in defenders that they get it away, but unfortunately not.
There he comes over again in the strike, and that was a very good strike.
I remember that one.
You did. You spread yourself well for that one. When it's 2-2 at this point, and that's a free kick that was lashed in.
Unfortunately not.
Lashed in by Smith there. A rare free kick.
Ash trying to hurry him to the side.
Puts it across well, and you never know with those ones. Someone could be stealing in.
Yes. After much deliberation, it's just a small dump off to Smith, who can play the ball out, but he gives the ball away.
I mean, I don't know there if that was a bad pass or if Piot didn't think it was going to him or something, because he just seemed to stop there and go over. Oh, and that's actually a fantastic save.
Yeah, that was very instinctive.
It came off Turnbull, didn't it?
They do score eventually after this.
And Connor, and it goes to Johnny, and I mean, what a finish again.
That's one thing I can say about the colours this week, Johnny, and particularly Johnny.
I mean, look at that for a finish. Look at that. If he puts it across, it's likely going to get blocked. If he puts it where you are, you're going to keep that out, and there's only one place he can put that, literally, in a matter of inches, and that's not in. And there's myself, obviously going to hit this, because when have I not had a shot from 40 yards? Well saved. And no doubt hit this one. And another save. And I think that was the story of my night there, James. Normally I tend to get 1 or 2 past you there, but a top performance for yourself, would you say?
It was alright. Played better.
And there's Grover, and again I think...
I reckon I probably should have went in close the angle a bit more there.
I think that one's...
just come to him.
Yeah, but that's one of those ones I think in of this standard of football and this pitch, that's likely going to go in every time, isn't it?
Yes.
A bit of a tussle there. And
Smith carrying on going with
Smith
it.
goes and strikes again, and it's going to be hoofed around at all times, and that's going to be Piot back in.
Oh, and he just ended up smacking
Piot again with it now. Piot with a strike, and West with a save. And hooked away. And then Smith
traps it.
And it's nice to see him actually hitting it rather than coifing it and taking it forward and coifing it until the defence get there. I think he had a good game, Smith, to be honest. I think
he did. He was all right.
I think everyone on the Bibs did, for the most part. And Smith there really should be finishing that one, but there's a good save from West. Sharkey back in. Dino.
Oh, he eventually put this one away. There you go. Eventually.
No doubt about that one.
By Smith.
The power that he can get behind those strikes. I mean, that ball moved as fast as my strikes do in the normal speed there. And Grover. Oh, I thought it would beat you there.
Touch. Yeah, no. I very much had to just stick the hand up there at the very last.
Glove with a bit of a tussle. And he's run around there and nothing's happened, has it?
Okay,
and
so
it's going to go. That's a well-worked corner if he gets the shot away. And he does, and
that was poor.
I mean, you need to have a bit of a fiddle with your right hand there as well, James. You've obviously worked on your left, but that right one there was a bit floppy there, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is uncharacteristic, to be honest, sometimes. Anyway, here's Glove.
And here's Glove coming in onto his left foot, and he does hit it this time.
He can curl him
Very
into that
reluctant
corner.
to shoot Glove in this game. I thought he got into some good positions. I mean, what do you think?
No, he did. No, he was always getting into positions. I was always fully, half expecting the little curl into the corner, to be honest.
Delightful little touch past Dino there, though, wasn't it? Dino, who really did put himself about in this fixture.
He does.
Just by Johnny, and you know he can hit it. He plays in Connor. Oh, what a finish that is!
I just knew that was
you can't keep them out, can you?
No, I just didn't win for. He just played it first time and knew exactly where he was putting it.
No, I've played in goal, and you can't keep those out. If someone's going to put it right there, off the inside of the post, I mean.
But it's the one that people don't always get right. I mean, half the time that's shanked well wide of the post, but.
He's been clinical, hasn't he, since he's made his debut as Conor Grover. Normally getting about a hat-trick every game, or at least 2. There's Piot, taking that from the back. I think that's the advantage both teams had this week. They both had players that could bring it out from the back.
They did.
And speaking of bringing it out from the back, there's Grover from well into his own half. The man who's got a hat-trick now. And a good save by yourself there. Notice that little tendency to dive to the right there. Save with the knees, perhaps, rather than the hands. But that one is well gobbled up.
There's you doing some sort of sound.
I think it was a hissing there, the Portuguese fans. And
that was just.
And that one there, I did actually try and win that ball because I was going to try and take it back out of the box, but I didn't actually get a touch on it, and I think it just went by and it almost went in. Piot,
pretty embarrassing.
Piot to Dino and shot wide open. And West, the keeper's fast far forward.
Good block from
bad touch there from myself, going for it on my left rather than my right there. Probably should have touched it inside. Good touch by Johnny. I mean,
just know what he can do.
I mean, look at the people stand. Oh, that's lovely. But look at the way. I mean, the way Johnny plays. I mean, people stand off him because they just don't know what he's going to do.
I just think he has a lot more quality than anyone else, which I don't think we're afraid to admit.
And someone's not happy with that there.
He's just trying to stay up.
And we know what he was trying to do. We all knew what he was trying to do.
I was just trying to keep myself up long enough, but I mean, he'd potentially try and chip me.
And it was a good effort, actually. Wasn't far wide, was it? Yeah. Glove plays it through there. To myself. And that is a good save from yourself there, because that was going near post.
Yeah, which I do have a problem with. I've established in many times in the past.
I think it was a good performance from yourself. To be fair, the amount of shots that you've faced, you've definitely saved more than you've let in this one. And that corner, I hit that one a little bit late. I saw the run. I was trying to pick him out, but his pace there just caught me out. He was already through. No match in the air. It was Dino there for the Japanese man there. And a lovely little back heel flick to Johnny. And now he's decked there as he tries to volley Sharky in the head.
Coming forward.
And Sharky with the strike that's just wide.
I think West made the save there. Did he not?
And I mean that's
grainy images, but you can see that
to the face there, isn't it?
Well, Sharky was just, battled in there, didn't he, and won the ball.
Here comes Johnny now, plays through Grover. What a fine save that is.
That was a good glove save, I have to admit.
And that's going the wrong. I mean, it's hard for a keeper to save them, especially diving the wrong way.
Just flash the leather up.
And I mean, look at Jack there. He's quite keen to get that
strike.
Chip tried to chip it in there for him, but unfortunately just there. And that's another good save. Strong right wrist this time. He's supposed to be doing some off-camera work there, James. And I've done myself there, haven't I?
I think it's every time everyone.
And you see the weak.
Well,
that
I just
little
think
chicken leg there, just going straight down.
That's it.
And that's
the game done. 7-3. I just think everyone falls over. There's always be one person who has to fall over when they're in with a clash with Smith there.
I mean, that's just always going to happen. But 7-3, not as far apart as it seemed, although a lot more highlights towards for Colours. I think Bibbs only really getting those goals. Good performance from yourself there. I think it's obviously going to be Johnny Bullock for me, man of the match, but we've gone for Westmoreland.
He's gone with West because West was solid. I mean, he probably made more saves than the highlights have highlighted there.
Saves there.
But what I would say more about West was not his goalkeeping skills, because he is a good goalkeeper. He is able to make the saves, and probably would say it's argued he's better than me, but he's obviously more athletic and taller than myself, so he's going to be better. But in terms of his overall performance, it was his distribution, a bit like Edison for Man City.
I think definitely
coming out and coming up to the halfway line and pressing his team on was very impressive. But I don't know whether I had the capability to do that, because we were obviously on the back foot for all of the game.
I think late on in the game, especially there when the Bibbs pushed forward, those long balls, you didn't even have to get back as a player on the Colours team. I know myself and Jack playing more defensive at that point, but West was winning it, and then me and Jack were the option for the easy pass. That opened up the midfield, and that's something I think we could perhaps talk about a little bit, maybe the distribution from the back, and how much of a difference do you think it made this week, James?
Oh, the distribution from your back or toward?
Just from both sides. I think having players like Piot and Smith in the back line for Bibbs, but also for...
As a goalkeeper, I always like to have that option, somebody who drops back to get the ball, because I don't like playing it straight into midfield, because you're putting up to be lost there, and especially when you've got players like Dino and Sharky. I mean, with the greatest respect to both, they're probably not going to win the vast majority of high balls if I'm throwing up to them. And basically, if I'm in a team without Johnny, I kind of want to keep it away from that, because he's always going to win that midfield battle, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, and I mean, to have a player like him, just to go talk about the Colours for a little bit, you talk about a player like West there, and as I'm saying, that ball could be sent over the top, perhaps by yourself, perhaps by Piot looking for the run. West will win it, give it to myself or Jack, and then who's there available, dropping in just on the just behind the centre circle in that kind of Andrea Pirlo position. It's Johnny, and then what he can do from that, you can either run on.
We've always got
Grover and Grover
going forward. He seems to have adopted that striker role.
And I think his finishes speak for themselves as well. What a clinical finish off the inside of the post.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, from that video, as you see there, it was only them two who scored. So they got 7 goals between them, and maybe about that one that went in the near post, I would say all of them were pretty good strikes that I wouldn't have expected to save, to be honest.
I think most of them were great strikes. I think the only one I would say is probably the wrist one where it's bounced, come off your wrist and gone in. But I think that's probably I think it probably looks worse. I think you've dived early there, and I think the balls come in with a little bit less pace than you've expected.
Possibly, yeah. I think it did kind of catch me out a little bit. But as I say, we're not professionals, so I always expect to have maybe one goal where I'm like, possibly should have done better there, and the rest you've just got to be allowing, really. In terms of other players that we've had playing recently, do you think someone like a Conor Lagway would have made a difference on the in the Bibbs team? Someone who is he's a skilled, silky player, but he does put a tackle in as well. He would have got that link between the midfield and the forward line, which Dino did to the best of his abilities, and as did Sharky, but Ash can't do everything in his own, but he did get himself in good positions. So I was saying to him earlier, he was putting himself about. You had to saw him have a couple of strikes, but crucially, he just didn't have that clinical finish in the end.
And I think that's the difference, isn't it? I think if maybe Turnbull was on Colours and Grover, or someone like that was on Bibbs, maybe Grover finishes those chances off. Speaking of the midfield, good to have Sharky back. What difference do you think he made early on and throughout the fixture?
Well, we just want Sharky for his running ability. I mean, and he does have a good technique, and he does have a fine strike in him, which we saw with the first 2 goals that he scored. Were great finishes.
Yeah, Sharky's one of them, isn't he? He can either hit it and go into row Z, or it'll go into the top corner, or the bottom corner, as he found twice.
But the thing for me for Sharky is just the way he keeps going. I mean, that second goal he scored, he just kept persisting with the football, harrying, and then he managed to get in front of the goal and find a nice finish.
And he certainly did that well. And I think the player that you'd have to compare him with in terms of the players positionally, I guess, the man we have to talk about, the man who controlled the game, again, as he does every week, Johnny Bull. What a difference he made this week. If he wasn't on that, arguably I would say if he was on Bibs, they win this football game.
Well, I mean, that's a trend I'm beginning to notice, that he tends to be on the winning team, but he just has the close control, the touch, the finish. I mean, that a lot of us will probably admit that we don't really have, or not in an abundance, not like consistently. He's a consistent player, which I think a lot of people are very inconsistent.
Yeah, and he comes in, week out. Took a knock early on in this game as well, and he still got back up, finished his next opportunity. And I think what he allows me to do personally when I play, and Jack, we play a little bit deeper, but we are allowed to get forward as well when we have a player like that, where I think sometimes you don't have that freedom to get up and down the pitch. Anyone else you want to give a mention to in that tie? Perhaps another player, maybe Piotr, playing more that defensive role again.
I like Piotr on the defensive role. I thought he played well. He's a mixture. I mean, he is good in the defensive role, and he is good going forward. I mean, he just... But yeah, he knackered himself out this week, but fair play to him, because he would have been well down if he hadn't been
arguably you need 2 Piotrs there, didn't you? One up front and one at the back.
We do, yeah. We just need somebody to support Ash really a bit more, but you couldn't really do that when we had so many defensive duties.
And I think, like I say,
the people forward.
I think the freedom that Johnny created on the colours meant that the colours could have players back as well to sort of try and cut out the game-changing abilities of Sharky and Dino perhaps in this one. One thing I would like to mention, just a shout out to Feast if he gets watching this, obviously took a tumble last week. Little did we know he played for 50 minutes with a ruptured knee, I believe, and
fair play to
hope to have him back soon.
Could be
who knows, he might score. I mean, he scores a screamer one week and then he snaps his leg the next. Obviously we'll be having other players back. Bobby just got back from Amsterdam, obviously saw a massive picture of him standing in the mirror on his Instagram, but be good to have those guys back. But overall, James, who do you think's a man to watch for next week?
Well, I think you're coming back into it. I thought you had I think you were there with the strikes a bit more, and obviously coming back after a bit of illness. And I think I'd like to see whether you can push on and try and get back to your best, really.
Thank you very much, James. And obviously a man always to watch, the 2 gentlemen in the studio with me. Keep your eye on Jack Shepherd and those marauding runs down the right hand side, and he'll either be conceding or he'll either be making fantastic saves. Thank you very much, James Cartwright, for joining me today, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.